All right, everyone, let's quickly understand the essay type advantage, outweigh, disadvantage. These kind of questions are very tricky. So, how do we handle them? What sort of questions do come? And if these questions do come, how do we structure them? How to generate the ideas and how to represent them? Everything in this video we will understand. So, these kind of questions are very tricky because they talk about outweighing part. This weighs, let's say, 200 pounds, let's say, and this weighs 100 pounds. So when this weighs 200 pounds, it goes down, correct? So this weighs more than that, meaning we should talk about this, we should talk about this, but probably this one, we should talk about something that weighs more, that has more value, that has more weightage. This you talk about something which is of less weight. Getting it? So this is a kind of question. Any question can come, any kind of question, something of this can come as well. These days, people prefer to read more of ebooks than paper books. People prefer to read more of ebooks than paper books. Does the advantage of this trend outweigh the disadvantages? Something like this has come in the exam multiple times. So the questions like this, how it can be answered. First thing is structure. 5 para structure is what we prefer. First is intro, where you talk about currently, people love reading more of ebooks than the traditional books made out of paper. This trend has both advantages and disadvantages. In this essay, I'll discuss why I agree that advantage of this trend outweigh the disadvantage. Intro done when you tell your viewpoint. Whether advantage outweigh disadvantage or you choose disadvantage outweigh advantage. And post the second para. Let's say you said advantage outweigh disadvantage. Let's say you said this. Second para gonna be why or talk about effective advantages, talk about less effective disadvantages. Fourth para, give your opinion on why pros outweigh the cons or advantage outweigh the disadvantages. Fifth para, conclusion. So now today we will do all these things in the next 45 minutes to 50 minutes odd. Okay, so intro is like I told you, same thing, whatever is here, you will copy paste and few things you will alter. These days, the same thing I'm gonna take, how to write introduction. These days, I will transform it to currently. I'm just changing few of the words. People, most people prefer to love reading ebooks, love reading ebooks than paper books. This trend has both pros and cons. In this essay, I will explain why pros of this trend outweigh the cons. Done and dusted. Introduction is done. Now comes second one. You need to prove why. Here, talk about the effective advantages. Now, before we start writing, we need to have a clear picture on what we're going to write. It's not just about advantages. You have to talk about effective advantages. Can anyone tell me the effective advantages here? Bindu, Jatinder? Advantage of the trend. If everyone follows only ebooks, correct? Only ebooks and no actual books. What are the advantages? Can anyone try? More of ebooks. Ebooks are eco-friendly, isn't it? Ebooks are eco-friendly. Eco-friendly can be one of the rule, one of the greatest advantage, correct? So I've written it here. Eco-friendly is one of the advantages. Let's say inside a book, you want to search for a particular item. In the ebook, it is possible. You just type that word in the search option. The software will find that. In the traditional paper books, it's not possible, isn't it? You have to seep through the pages one by one to find or underline. Here, it's much more easier to save the data, to remind ourselves few of the words, or check its meaning in the internet quickly, and lot many stuff. So one of the advantages I would write is eco-friendly, where we don't have to cut the trees. Correct? To make paper books, we need to cut the trees to an extent and can be searched for specific things. Remember, when they ask about advantage outweigh disadvantage, they're not talking about number of advantages or number of disadvantages. I can write eco-friendly as only one advantage and write 10 disadvantages and still prove why advantage outweigh disadvantage. Remember this. Disadvantages strain to the eyes. When this trend is so prevalent that people are not reading the paper books, people are just into the ebooks, strain to the eyes, and the feel of the paper book provides that will be missed out. The book has that feel, has that smell, has that connection, that will be missed out. These are the disadvantages, but they're not so effective disadvantages. As a result, disadvantage outweigh disadvantage. That's the whole idea. Now I will write the advantage and I show you how to do that. Post that, I would want you guys to write the disadvantages, that is the third para, and then opinion, fourth para, and then conclusion. We'll do it together. It's all easy. So talk about effective advantages. We will talk about what is that. We will just, very sorry. Any one you can write, or if you want, I can write both and show you. Trust me, I'm not prepared for this. I just wrote these things just now, like 5 minutes before starting the class. So I'm going to talk about, firstly, to produce ebooks, or you can say, firstly, ebooks are eco-friendly. This means I'm starting a supporting idea. I'll explain you again Corin's question in just a while. Ebooks are eco-friendly. This means to make a paper book, huge amount of trees need to be logged. However, this is not the case with respect. I'm just writing in simple terms with respect to ebooks. For example, in the past, the number of paper books produced grew, or number of paper books, or you can say in the past, paper books paper books were produced in a large quantity, which leads to cutting off so many trees, disrupting the forest and the environment. This also has resulted in habitat loss of so many indigenous animals, which could have been saved. This is one particular idea. Pay more attention. Ebooks are eco-friendly. This is the supporting idea. This means to make a paper book, huge amount of trees need to be logged. However, this is not the case with respect to ebooks. This entire thing is the supporting idea. Now, for example, now I'm giving a scenario. In the past, paper books were produced in a large quantity, which leads to, or which led to, rather, sorry, because I talked about in the past, cutting off so many trees, disrupting the forest and the environment. This also resulted in habitat loss of so many indigenous animals, which could have been saved. On the other hand, ebooks nullify this need and is purely based on electronics. This is an example. Pay more attention. Never write example in one line. I repeat, never write example in one line. Never write example in one line, one sentence. Never write example in one sentence. Never write example in one sentence. Give the scenario. A scene, scenario, a scene, a situation cannot be described in one line. Isn't it so? This probably is the entire second paragraph, which is 87 words. Or if you want, you can say, secondly, ebooks provide option to search for a particular item which paper books cannot. This is because due to advancement in the software, such option implementation is so easy to implement and is very helpful in cases where a person needs to remember few lines or needs to check for few important things. I'm just writing on my own. You may not need to write this lengthy, but I'm just going in a flow. Nakul, this much big a paragraph, then don't write second idea. If you're writing second idea should also have main idea, supporting idea, example. In some cases, if you think it is getting more lengthier, then supporting idea you can remove. Ebook provides option to search for a particular item which paper books cannot. I'll remove this and say, for example, a recent software product called Amazon Kindle can search for a particular information inside an ebook in seconds. However, it may take a lot of time sifting pages one by one in case of a paper book. This is also at the end of the day, I need the supporting ideas. I'm going to remove this. If you have a very fast typing speed or very fast writing speed, you can add it. Otherwise, remove no. But yes, whatever you write, secondly, this is the main idea. This is, for example, this entire thing is an example. So here I have proved that this trend is so advantageous. The question is not advantages of ebooks or advantages of paper books. Advantage of the trend. Read the question. This trend has both. What is the trend? Reading ebooks than paper books. More people are reading ebooks than the paper books. Does this advantage of this trend is the question. So I've talked about trend means more of ebooks than paper books. Everywhere it is only electronic. No paper book. That trend leads to these advantages. So 20 minutes done. Now I want you guys to write the disadvantages. Firstly, secondly over. So now or we can start on one hand. That would also be a good one. Now we will say we are getting it on one hand. On the other hand, now we're going to talk about the disadvantages of this trend. I've got the disadvantages, or you can pick your own disadvantage. May I request you guys to write as quickly as possible. And then we take up opinion in just a file. You guys want to write, or I'll just write it and finish it off? You guys tell me. What we'll do is disadvantages I'll write, opinion you guys write. Okay. So now we have to talk about disadvantages in a way that they're not very effective. No, you just talk about disadvantages. Next paragraph, opinion, you prove with a valid point that these disadvantages are not like very hefty disadvantages. It can be nullified. Don't say anything about less effective, more effective in the third para. Third para, you just talk about disadvantages. On the other hand, the trend of having more ebooks than paper books give rise to eye problem. This is because the electronic gadget, what it does, produces or emits harmful rays which not conducive to the eyes. For example, there are many instances where children who reads or who read lot of ebooks have got or have contracted. You contracted, it says, eyesight problem. Also, these problems have become so prevalent that wearing an anti-glare glass for protection of the eyes is gaining popularity. However, this was never the case with respect to what? Paper books. This is enough. Now try to observe things. See, I'm just writing. Trust me, I'm not prepared for this. I just wrote the ideas 5 minutes before the class. It's just that what matters is something else. This is what I know. First thing is you need to become confident. Automatically words will flow. Main thing is this. See, on the other hand, this is because I have this structure ingrained into my blood. Correct? So I know exactly what has to be written. I'm not trying to use some hi-fi vocabulary, of course not. I'm trying to be as simple as possible. But all I'm doing is going with a structure. Try to observe the structure. The trend of having more ebooks than paper books give rise to eye problem. I introduced the main thing, main disadvantage. And I explained how come this is a disadvantage, how it gives rise to a problem. Because these electronic gadget emits harmful rays, which are not conducive. They do not help eyes in any way. For example, you have any instances, so many children in our country are into phone, into ebooks, reading. Because of that, eyes gone case. And now doctors are advising everybody to use anti-glare because it is harmful. But this is not the case with respect to paper book. This is enough. You want to write one more? Then probably additionally, paper books have the feel and touch which ebooks do not carry. Now you need to give an example. For example, touching and feeling a paper book has the feeling which cannot be expressed. It just feels great to hold a book and read. However, ebooks do not come any close in providing such a feeling. You may wonder what this guy is simply trying to write. All that matters is the structure and some ideas. It's not the formation of the words for 7 or 7.5 or 8. What it needs is a simple translation, a simple conveying power. Whoever reads should understand. But there has to be a structure. And I have written that. Additionally, I wrote, for example, I give a proper example. Additionally, paper books have the feel and touch which ebooks do not carry. Even an example, then touching and feeling a paper book has the feeling which cannot be expressed. It just feels great to hold a book and read, however, ebook. Same thing, only you just written an extension to it. Any idea you write, extend it, extend it, extend it, supporting idea, extend it, example. So if you wonder, in 22 minutes, I have finished an entire essay along with explanation. Then you should finish the essay without having to teach in the exam. Finish the essay in 15 minutes, isn't it? At the end of the day, what matters is these ideas. You get this, start writing because you know the formula. You know that there has to be a structure. You know the structure. Isn't it so? It's actually very easy. You see myself at 9:27, 9:04 I started. In 21 minutes, I have taught you, I have given you the introduction, and I have written the entire essay. And I myself, um, I myself am the, I am the evaluator, so I cannot say there are wrong things. I think it is correct. Overall, the essay looks fine. It has main idea, supporting idea, example. That is what coherence, cohesion. The ideas are correct. That is what task response. Task response, coherence, cohesion, and understand. Vocabulary, so many, the loss, habitat loss, quantity, large quantity, resulted in indigenous elements based on so many collocations I'm using. If you see, contracted the problem, you don't get the problem, you contract the problem. Give rise to, conducive to, correct? With respect to, do not carry, cannot be expressed, do not come any close. There are a lot of phrases I've used. Vocabulary, fine. Grammar, there has to be a simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence. All three should be there. Ebooks are eco-friendly, simple sentence. To make a paper book, huge amount of tree, blah, 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 complex sentence. This is not the case with respect to ebooks, simple sentence. In the past, paper books were produced in the large quantity, which complex sentence. This also has resulted, which complex sentence. Ebooks nullify this need and compound sentence. Ebooks provide option to search for a which complex sentence. A recent software called can search for a particular inside an ebook in second simple sentence. It may take a lot of time sifting one by one, sifting the pages in case of simple sentence. It's a mixture of everything. I'm not giving much thought. All these are ingrained here. Whatever I write, I've included all these points because earlier I put this effort. Now you have to start putting that effort. That's the only difference. Rome was never built in a day. It took its own time. By the way, Rome is very beautiful. Same way, say, writing an essay is an art. You give that love to it, you get the love back. Don't hate it and do it. Don't do it for the sake of it. Just appreciate the person you become, appreciate the writer in you. Automatically you write better. You know what it means when you say you write better? You write better means a reader is telling you that you write better. It's all the reader at the end of the day. So it's all the examiner at the end of the day. One who reads it should always praise. Means you should connect with the reader. For that connection, you need to go step by step, step by step, step by step. There are rules, there are paths already carved. Don't create your own path. Go in that path, but you walk yourself. So these are the set of, on the other hand, this is because, for example, everything is already set. Just use them. That's it. Don't try to create a new thing. You may, never reach the destination. You may go in a wrong path. So I've finished the intro. Talk about the effective advantages. Talk about less effective disadvantages. It's not less effective or effective. At here is where you need to prove that if it was effective or not, which was effective. That's exactly what we have to do it. So for today, I'll do it here. People are not very responsive today. I'll finish it off everything. So now fourth para is opinion. You need to prove here. Prove how advantages outweigh disadvantages. So probably I can start. Um, so there are templates. Templates I've already provided you in the Google Drive in the writing folder, essay folder, templates. You can check here. Template is already there. You memorize. You can start with it. But if you don't want to memorize, if I have not memorized, I'll write on my own. I need to prove the advantages outweigh disadvantages. The or I say the trend of having e-books over paper books has advantages which outweigh the disadvantages. I stated my point. This means the disadvantages such as eyesight problem or the missing feel of a paper book can be overlooked looking at the greater picture. The advantages provide. This means with wearing glasses as solution, we can nullify the eyesight problem and look into this trend as something greatly advantageous as it helps to curb logging of the trees. Hence, advantages of this trend clearly outweigh the disadvantage. This is the structure wherein I took some disadvantages. I took some disadvantages and proved that they're not very much effective because we've got solution. I wear a glass, it's okay, you can still nullify it. However, we cannot overlook the advantages we reap because we're gonna avoid that cutting of the trees, which is much more important than our eyesight problem or than the human itself or himself. So I started with the trend of having ebooks over paper books. The trend has advantages which outweigh the disadvantages. This means the disadvantages, I started from disadvantages and said, there is a medicine for it. Don't worry. Look at the bigger picture is advantage produces. Wherein I'm trying to prove with some bigger words, telling the examiner that look into the advantage as something more effective. Correct? The disadvantages such as eyesight problem. Eyesight is one word, sorry on that. Or the missing feel of a paper book can be overlooked looking at the greater picture the advantages provide. Here I'm hinting to the examiner that look at me, look at my side. I'm telling you, it's not the disadvantage, it's the advantage which matters more here. This means, comma, with wearing glasses as a solution, we can nullify the eyesight problem. That means the problem is never a problem now. We have got medicine and look into this trend as something greatly advantageous. Why? Because it helps to curb the logging of trees, which is anytime crucial for our survival. Some bigger words. The structure is like this. We take disadvantage and prove that it is not disadvantage at all because we have some medicine. And then take advantage and say, oh, this is very, very crucial for us. Just anytime crucial for our survival. Hence advantage. So look into this trend as something advantageous as it helps to curb logging the trees. Logging off is wrong. Cutting down the trees, the trees are logged, logging the trees. I think it's logging off the trees, probably. Yes. which is anytime crucial for our survival. Hence, advantages of this trend clearly outweigh the disadvantage. Now it clearly proves that yes, oh yeah, advantage outweigh disadvantage. Now you have to convince. We have already convinced. The attempt is not to write. The attempt is to convey. The attempt is to convince the reader. Reader should read and say, yeah, correct. Advantage, you definitely outweigh the disadvantage. I never thought so. That is the thought the reader should get. After reading, reader should not question what point you have written, what nonsense is this. If the examiner fails, what is this? 5.5. Examiner fails, oh, it looks correct. It's good. I think yes. It changed my view. Then 8 points. It's just this. And for this, there is a path. There is a structure. Talk about disadvantages, prove that we have a medicine, then talk about advantages, prove why it is very, very important, and hence advantage outweigh disadvantage. The things are very simple. It's just the human mind that complicates it, as once a famous person said. Any doubt so far, guys? Any doubt so far? No doubts? We'll finish it with in conclusion then. In conclusion, though there are disadvantages of having more ebooks, though there are disadvantages such as, I'll just continue, eyesight problems and missing feeling of holding a book, the advantages such a trend brings is very crucial for our survival. Hence, the trend of having more of ebooks than paper books has advantages which clearly outweigh the disadvantages. Entire essay with explanation in 35 minutes. Then entire essay you can write in 15-20 minutes, isn't it? Any doubts? So repeating of the word is definitely fine. Don't go by YouTube. Some person says that no, you need 8 points, 8 bands, 8.5 bands. Probably repeating, avoid as much as possible. Otherwise, once or twice you repeat, twice or thrice you repeat. It's absolutely fine. Ebook, you cannot write lot of synonyms. You try to think, you will end up going in the wrong direction. Ebook, electronic books, electronic gadgets. After that, you can't. So it's okay. We can definitely use the same word. It is not going to make much difference. Unless you need 8.59, probably that time examiner may think twice. But these words you can definitely repeat because there is no alternative. Let's say I use the word missing feel. Probably I can write a synonym for it. Correct? Here I said eyesight problem. Probably I can write a synonym for it. Myopia. Eye problem. So wherever possible, but don't have to focus more on creating that new word. Focus more on maintaining the structure. Focus more on your representation, convincing the examiner with your representation. Focus more on the right ideas. Focus less on the vocabulary, but I'm not saying don't focus. Focus less. Probably 10% of your brain usage you can give it to vocabulary. The rest 90% is task response, coherence, cohesion, grammar. Task response, coherence, cohesion, grammar. I think I have finished it. Any doubts, guys? So this is the entire essay that. So I'll just finish it off. It's a lengthy paragraph. It's a very lengthy paragraph. What do? We will reduce it. Perfect. Little bit increase it. It fits into one book, one page. So I'm going to send you this. Anytime you need to have a look at it, you can have a look at it. Basically, see how I learned essay writing is by observing. Observing. You need to observe how the sentences are framed, how it was possible for him to just write it in one go. Correct? Because I have that clarity. You develop the clarity of the things, it becomes very easy. You don't have much clarity and you start writing, definitely you fall into the traps. You make mistakes. It's the clarity that wins the race all the time. Remember this. So the third para and the fourth and the fifth, I'm giving you together. Any doubts on anything, you can ask me. Jatinder ji, any doubts? Manoj, any doubts? Sai Manoj, right? You need 8 bands. Remember, Bindu, any doubts? So that's all the advantage, outweigh disadvantage. It's gonna be easy, but 5 para structure, not 4 para. Remember, this is very, very important. Important to the next level. You need to write your opinion separately. I've seen people mixing it up with the conclusion in 1 para, in 1 line opinion, 1 line conclusion. Never do that. This is very much essential as the other paragraph. Fourth is very much crucial to your scores. Thanks, Jatinder. Any other doubts you have, let me know. Otherwise, I think I finished a little early today. I think we can wind up. What I can best do is I can give a question. You guys can write at your end and send me for the feedback. Can we do that? So the question would be, you text me, Manoj, in the WhatsApp, I'll help you. The question would be, wars are still prevalent in the modern society. Some nations want to stand top among others and desire to build an identity. Does advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? See, any question can come in the exam. Any question. Like I just framed a question. You don't get this question perhaps in the internet. I don't know. Any questions can come in the exam. So the questions doesn't matter at the end of the do not matter. What matters is how you represent it. For whatever the question, the structure remains the same. Generate the right ideas, know which structure to use, and then have main idea, supporting idea, example. Main idea, supporting idea, example. Follow it. Things will happen. Try writing the entire essay. Probably you can send it to writing.skillsiles, like we have given you the Gmail ID. Otherwise, all good, guys. Any doubts you have, you can let me know. Otherwise, I think we're gonna park it here. Probably. Which topic? How do I know, Bindu, with topic that you're not aware of? Is this topic you're aware of? Business, arts. Then Jatinder will say, I know the topic business arts. Give me the topic of this. So it's relative. So you can go to internet, read, I mean, type topics, essay topics, IELTS related to art, and take it up. Anything is fine. You can take anything is fine. Oh, in the exam, definitely. See, in the exam, anything can come. I got a topic on xenophobia. Anyone knows what is xenophobia? I got this topic. Xenophobia is good or bad? No one knows? Well, it was not simply xenophobia. They had explained what xenophobia is as well, but I'm just sorry, it's X. Dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. If you're an immigrant, let's say you got the PR and went to Canada, the local Canadians develop that hatred towards you. That's called xenophobia. Something of that. But they would have given for whatever the new thing they introduce. They would have given what it is. You don't have to much worry. But yes, in the exam, anything can come. So don't worry about the questions. worry about the structure. Read newspapers, read books, you're going to cover every sort of thing. You will have the knowledge. Only knowledge that you need to develop is the art of essay writing. It's not only knowing things, it's about implementing them. For that, you need to try main idea, supporting an example, convincing power, right usage of the words, right representation. This is more of the art of essay writing. Any question, let it come. Read newspapers, you gain knowledge on common things so that you get the right ideas. Okay, fine, guys. Then we will park it here. Probably a short class, shorter version than the usual. But still, a very good learning. I'll upload this recording. You can have a look at it any point of time. With this, I'll park it here. Soon we'll be back. Sunday evening, 4 p.m. Till then, take care. Have a good night's sleep. Bye bye. Thanks.